They are the remnant of a once mighty kingdom of men. For well over 1,000 years, they would live in small settlements, and their warriors would take to the wilds, working in secrecy against the dark forces of the world, all the while hoping that one day their kingdom might rise once more. Today on Nerd of the Rings, we cover the Rangers of the North. The Dúnedain Rangers are born out of the downfall of Arnor. Arnor has just endured a centuries-long conflict with the Witch King of Angmar. And while the Witch King is eventually defeated, thanks to the aid of Gondorians and the elves of Rivendell, Arnor would not recover. In 1974 of the Third Age, Arthedain, the last splinter kingdom of the once great realm, is abandoned. In the days after the war, the survivors of Arthedain would turn to a life of secrecy, as we read in the appendices of The Lord of the Rings. When the kingdom ended, the Dúnedain passed into the shadows and became a secret and wandering people, and their deeds and labors were seldom sung or recorded. Little now is remembered of them since Elrond departed. With no kingdom or kingship to claim, Aranarth, the son of the deceased king of Arthedain, rules his people as the first chieftain of the Dúnedain. While the settlements of the Dúnedain are rarely noted in record, and could very well have moved around, we know that by the time of Aragorn's grandfather, the chieftain's house was in the woods near the river Horwell, north of the Trollshaws. We also know that many of the Dúnedain of the north live in the woods between the Horwell and the Bruinen. Fortunately, the rise of the Dúnedain Rangers coincides with a period known as the Watchful Peace. Less than 100 years after the Witch King's defeat, Gandalf the Grey makes his way to Mirkwood, to the fortress of Dol Guldur, to investigate a dark presence. Not ready to reveal himself, this necromancer flees to the east of Middle-earth, not to return for 400 years. When Aranarth's son Arahel is born, it is in Rivendell. There the chieftain's son would be raised in safety. This would become a custom for the heirs of Isildur, that Elrond would foster and protect the far descendants of his brother until they were ready to enter the wild. Alongside their sons, the Dúnedain would entrust Elrond with the heirlooms of their people, the shards of Narsil, the scepter of Annúminas, the star of Elendil, and the ring of Barahir. Aranarth would die in 2106 of the Third Age, having ruled for 130 years. This would be the longest rule of any chieftain of the Dúnedain, a position that would too often see early deaths for those who held it. One of the early examples is Aragorn I, who dies only 8 years into his rule as chieftain at the age of 100, a relatively short life for a line that regularly lives to see 150. Aragorn I is killed by wolves in Eriador, a frequent foe not only for the Rangers, but others in Eriador, like the Hobbits. While the Watchful Peace is no doubt a period without Sauron's direct presence, it is not wholly without conflict. Servants of the enemy would still work against the lands of Gondor and Rhovanion, while the Rangers would fight only small skirmishes against orcs and wolves. Thanks to the actions of these Dúnedain Rangers, other citizens of Eriador would flourish during this time without large-scale battles, namely the Hobbits of the Shire. However, this watchful peace would not last. Sauron returns to Dol Guldur in 2460, and with his re-emergence, many foul things would come forth. Sauron's return coincides with the rule of Arahad I, 7th chieftain of the Dúnedain. During Arahad's rule, the orcs of the Misty Mountains begin to increase in number, and they would begin attacking those traveling near or across the mountains, like Elrond's wife, Celebrian. In the coming centuries, the orcs would grow more bold, even seeking to invade Eriador. During this time, the Rangers would fight many battles in order to protect the lands that once belonged to their great kingdom. On one such occasion, in 2747, a band of orcs from Mount Graham were able to get past the Dúnedain, reaching the north farthing of the Shire. Fortunately, Bullroarer Took led a group of hobbits in defending their home, and in the Battle of Green Fields, Bullroarer decapitated the Goblin King, causing the orcs to retreat. 11 years later, Eriador, along with other portions of Middle-earth, would be hit with the Long Winter, a 5-month-long ordeal resulting in thousands of deaths across not only Eriador, but Dunland and Rohan as well. Later, Eriador would be hit by yet another harsh winter, this known as the Fell Winter. During this period, coinciding with the rule of the 13th chieftain, Argonui, white wolves would invade Eriador from the north, providing yet another foe for the Dúnedain and the hobbits. We know that in the Shire during this time, food ran short, possibly an issue the Dúnedain would also experience. In 2912, the Rangers would see yet another remnant of their great kingdom fall. In the aftermath of the Fell Winter, the areas of Edenwaith and Meniriath would suffer terrible flooding, and the town of Tharbad would be ruined and deserted. Its great bridge would be lost. Like Annúminas and Amansul before it, Tharbad would be left in ruins, a tragic reminder of the kingdom that was no more. Still, over the coming decades, others would use this location as a crossing, or a temporary shelter, just as Aragorn would do with Weathertop. During that particular journey, Aragorn says the Rangers use runes and sometimes come to the ruins of Amansul. As far as Tharbad, we find at various points Gandalf, Ringwraiths, and the Dúnedain themselves using the location. Even Boromir crossed the river at Tharbad. Notably, this is where he lost his horse and had to finish the journey to Rivendell on foot. During his travels and adventures, Gandalf would be aided by the Dúnedain many times. He shares this with Frodo when the latter mentions he believed Aragorn to be a mere ranger.
"Only a ranger?" cried Gandalf. "My dear Frodo, that is just what the Rangers are. The last remnant in the north of the great people, the men of the West. They have helped me before, and I shall need their help in the days to come."
As mentioned earlier, the later chieftains would be marked by tragic ends. The next chieftain of the Dúnedain after Argonui was his son Eriador. After ruling for just 18 years, Eriador would be captured and killed by hill trolls in the Coldfells when he is 110 years old. With his death, rule of the Dúnedain passes to his son, Arathorn II. While Eriador's reign was quite short, Arathorn's would be tragically so. Arathorn rises to chieftain at 57 years old in 2930. 1 year later, his son, Aragorn II, is born. But just 2 years later, Arathorn would be hunting orcs alongside Elrond's sons, Aladan and Elrohir, when he is shot in the eye with an arrow and killed. After this tragic end, Aragorn's mother Gilrain would take him to Rivendell to be fostered by Elrond. After reaching adulthood and learning his true heritage, Aragorn would return to the wild, becoming the 16th and final chieftain of the Dúnedain. The Rangers had a mysterious reputation among the other inhabitants of Eriador. In The Lord of the Rings, we read, "But in the wildlands beyond Bree there were mysterious wanderers. The Bree folk called them Rangers, and knew nothing of their origin. They were taller and darker than the men of Bree, and were believed to have strange powers of sight and hearing, and to understand the languages of beasts and birds. They roamed at will southwards, and eastwards even as far as the Misty Mountains, but they were now few and rarely seen. When they appeared, they brought news from afar, and told strange forgotten tales which were eagerly listened to, but the Bree folk did not make friends of them." As this would indicate, the Rangers are mysterious even to the other men of the lands of Eriador. In addition to being good fighters and trackers, there seems to be rumors, whether true or not, of an ability to understand animal languages. No doubt many of their number were indeed multilingual, speaking Elvish and Common Tongue at the very least. The mystery surrounding the Rangers would be reinforced with Barlaam Butterbird's own words about Aragorn.
"He is one of the wandering folk, Rangers we call him. He seldom talks, Not but what he can tell a rare tale when he has the mind. He disappears for a month or a year, and then he pops up again. He was in and out pretty often last spring, but I haven't seen him about lately. What his right name is, I've never heard, but he's known round here as Strider.
During Aragorn's leadership of the Rangers, they would aid the wizard Gandalf. Not only would they continue to protect places like Bree, but when Gandalf suspects Bilbo has the One Ring, they double their guard around the Shire. They would continue to also protect the lands of Bree, as Aragorn explains during the Council of Elrond.
And yet less thanks have we than you. Travelers scowl at us, and countrymen give us scornful names. Strider I am to one fat man who lives within a day's march of foes that would freeze his heart, or lay his little town in ruin, if he were not guarded ceaselessly. Yet we would not have it otherwise. If simple folk are free from care and fear, simple they will be, and we must be secret to keep them so. That has been the task of my kindred, while the years have lengthened and the grass has grown.
This Guard of the North would lapse, however, as the War of the Ring reaches its final days. Led by the young ranger Halbarad, a group of Dúnedain known as the Grey Company would leave Eriador to aid their chieftain. They are joined by Elladan and Elrohir, and meet Aragorn at Dol Baran. The company that Halbarad is able to assemble is just 30 rangers strong, all that could be gathered in haste. While Halbarad would meet his demise in the Battle of the Pelennor Fields, the Grey Company would ride with Aragorn to the Black Gate, and ultimately to victory. Out of the scattered remnants of their once great people would rise a king, one to reunite the men of the West. Thus was the dignity of the kings of old renewed. Under Aragorn's rule, the northern kingdom of Arnor would be restored. It is said Aragorn, while visiting in the north, would stay in the former glorious capital of Annúminas, likely indicating its restoration under King Elessar. Likewise, it is likely Aragorn would repair the bridge of Tharbad, for the Great North Road leading from Fornos to Minas Tirith would be opened once again. With the rise of Aragorn and the restoration of their kingdom, no longer would the Rangers need to be a scattered people wandering the wilds. In the coming years, unburdened by the presence of Sauron and his servants, the men of Arnor could once again thrive and bring glory to Arnor once more. As always, I want to say a huge thank you to all my Patreon and YouTube supporters who make this channel possible. Tom DeBombadil19, Lissamy the Cinda, Rabbi Rob Thomas, Charles Leisure, CCDC Red Team, Joe Tepper, The Mighty Mim, Andrew Carlisle, Swirled Traveler, Matthew Jeffrey, Viking Lord, Alvin Einbert, Jeremy Daniel Derby, Leo Vittori, Sky Carcass, Slide Belts, Dane Ragnarsson, Berto Berg, Graham Derricott, The Dark-Haired One, Wyland, Micah Wu, and Debbie. If you enjoyed the artwork in this video, check out the artists in the description to purchase prints of their great work for yourself. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on Nerd of the Rings.